Now, Don't Breathe works very well because it flips this expectation of what you'd expect from somebody with what I want to call in disability horror, where somebody's blind or deaf or mute, even say, and they're at a disadvantage to the murderer, where they would already be at a disadvantage to the murderer to start off with. Now, Don't Breathe works because the person that you'd expect to be the victim is actually the antagonist trying to hunt down the people, and it works very well in that way. So I'm going to talk about some movies that do what you would kind of more expect from that, and that are really great companion pieces to this movie. Now, Hush is a movie that came out this year. You've probably seen it on your Netflix queue. I saw it for about a month before I actually ended up watching it, and it is way better than I expected. This is about a deaf woman who's also an author who basically has a killer come to her house in the middle of the woods and try and kill her, and kind of toys with her, and she has to fight against this while not being able to hear where he's coming from at any time in the movie, and the movie really plays on that very well. This movie is directed by Mike Flanagan and is starring its screenwriter Kate Siegel, who I believe is also married to Mike Flanagan, and it works really well, and it's just really surprising to see a great combo team like that doesn't pan out like some weird Tommy Wiseau scenario. Now, the other movie here is the Don't Breathe, is what I'm going to call it. This is called Wait Until Dark, which is a 1967 movie starring Audrey Hepburn, directed by Terrence Young, and also stars a couple people that you definitely recognize their faces, but you wouldn't know by name, so I'm just going to flash them up on the screen at this point and put some reference for who they are. Now, in this movie, Audrey Hepburn plays a blind woman who basically has to defend herself against these three men who are basically trying to trick her the entire movie into helping them find this doll that's in her apartment that is very valuable to them, and she doesn't know why throughout the movie. It's established very early on, but it's really interesting. It plays out like a play because it's adapted from one. And it actually works very well. It's just like a big mind game of a film. Notably, though, unlike these last two movies I've been talking about, the kind of, person with a disability using their disability to their advantage at some point in the movie, which happens in these other two movies, doesn't really pan out as well as you'd expect it. During the last half of the movie, I was kind of like yelling at my screen about why she hadn't been using something that she'd set up for an entire scene to her advantage, because it was very clear what she was trying to do, and then basically there's a light left on when she's trying to immerse the bad guys in darkness, and it's just very strange. This said, Audrey Hepburn plays the blind woman very well in this movie, and it's a really interesting movie, especially in companion to Don't Breathe, that's made 50 years after this movie. So it's a very interesting companion piece to that one. Now, I'm going to be writing an article kind of detailing these a bit more, and hopefully dig into a couple more great disability horror movies. So you can check that out on my blog at Owen's Sound. That's Owen, 2 S's, OUND, .wordpress.com. And you can check out my podcast. I'll definitely be talking about a lot of these movies on there. That's going to be at soundcloud.com/real_dio, both with 2 E's. Thanks for watching, guys.